Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm looking for reassurance, Director. I'd like to go back to the hub zone issues, and you know, there were a lot of recommendations from the GAO on specific actions to take, and I guess I'm going to feel better about the veterans program if I know that there's actually been changes in the front end controls. Fraud detection is, you know, now a part of the culture of the agency, and that you're interested in doing suspensions, you know, decertifications, this sort of thing, very proactively. Could you tell me what exact actions you've done to improve things?
Yes. In hub zones, we have now done about 1,000 site visits, 750 completed documentations through our process. Compared to a year ago, the annual number was 7. So we are continuing to take those site visits and then use that understanding to re-engineer our upfront documentation process. So number 1, extensive site visits. Number 2, business process engineering of the documentation upfront. Number 3, we actually have changed our certification process. We now ask for extensive documentation and are working through how to make sure we get the right documentation up front so that we can identify the particular issues that were causing the firms to be in there who should not have been in there.
Were those announced or unannounced site visits?
In the site visits, well, the way they do them is the unannounced portion is the verification of the location. So we don't tell them that we're coming. We go and make sure the location is there. The second piece of the site visit...
But they know that you're in the process of doing investigation.
No, they don't know anything. Okay. So totally unannounced to make sure that the hub zone office is in the hub zone. So that's number 1, unannounced. Part 2, we give them between 24 and 48 hours to produce the paperwork that is required to make sure that 35% of their employees are employed within the hub zone. So that
what happens to them if they don't produce that work?
They can't be a hub zone person.
Mr. Couts, what's your view of what we just heard and how the program's working at this stage?
When we first looked at the hub zone program for this committee, it was essentially a glorified self-certification program. Anybody and their brother could get in. And at this point, there is more due diligence done, and we have done some testing for you, and we will be reporting back to you on that whenever you would like us to. But I'd say there's been progress, but it's probably not where it needs to be.
There were, back in February or whenever, there were still 7, the 10 firms are investigated, 7 were still getting contracts. Have they been terminated now at this point, Director?
I'm sorry, are we talking hub zones?
Hub zones.
We're talking of this. Yes, we've referred all of those and I'm
asking,
more.
have the contracts, have their ability to get money from the federal government been terminated for all the 10 firms that were investigated by GAO last year?
All of them have been referred for disbarment or prosecution, whatever relevant category,
so
and
I
many
just want
more.
the answer. I guess maybe
Yes.
I'm misunderstanding you. I just want to know, are they still getting federal money at this point?
No, I do not believe so, and I'm happy to report back on those for the record.
Okay, thank you. So I'm sorry, just to follow up here, you know, this is a big deal. I mean, this is a big deal. We're trying to get businesses back on track, small businesses in particular. We'd like the Small Business Administration to be part of that effort. These types of things make it very difficult for us to showcase the agency as one that can help solve problems when these types of issues are going on. And I disagree with the fact they just need more money. I don't think that's the answer. If I had $1 for every agency that told me in my legislative career they needed more money to solve the problem, I'd be a wealthy man. But I think this is stuff that you should be doing already. So to the point on it takes a while to do the debarments and complete decertification, shouldn't we be suspending these programs when the GAO has already done the work? Why do we have to wait for the IG in your department to do the same work, if you will? I understand for the debarment, yes, that's necessary. But for the suspension, why can't the agency just go off of that? And then the last question is, what other investigations has SBA done beyond what the GAO talked about or pointed out, those firms that the GAO identified. What other firms have you identified in the HUBZone program since they did their work that are fraudulent and misusing taxpayer dollars?
So we identified 1,000 firms that we visited. We have cleared the 750 of those, and of those, we have a number of them who did not comply, and we have excluded them from the program.
250 firms are excluded.
Pardon? No? 750 have passed, and a number of them have not passed, and we can get you the pertinent information, but anybody who did not pass that inspection cannot participate in the HUBZone programs.
Time expired.